Welcome back to Get Lost with Brooks. Today I want to tell you about a recent trip I went on, an adventure in Mendocino National Forest. It's the only national forest in California without a major paved road entering it, so it's kind of wild. I'm going to cover where we went, what we saw, and what we learned along the way. And by the way, this trip is kind of special because it took place just days before this entire place, and in fact, this exact spot caught on fire. And yeah, I went back and forth a lot about whether to even post this at all, right? Like it seems like sort of not great to celebrate a place that's undergoing such tragedy. But this show tells stories about nature and adventure, and this trip, and in fact this place, it's connected to something bigger that's happening in our world. And I think it's a story that's worth telling. So I invite you to open your hearts and your ears and let me know how this story touches you in the comments. All right, you guys ready? Let's do this! Let's rewind to a simpler time, August 2020. My friend Ben Easley had organized a trip up to Mendocino National Forest, ostensibly to witness the Perseid meteor shower. I think he just wanted to get lost. Hey, that's my show, that's the joke. Yeah, we know. The National Forest is over 900,000 acres of trees, dark skies, wilderness areas, and yes, the occasional weed farm. The plan was to explore and experience some solitude, and yeah, man, catch some of those shooting stars. So we had 5 rigs, 3 nights, and 200 miles of dirt ahead of us. The first day, we gassed up and aired down at Lake Pillsbury. Once we were set, we headed up into the forest.
Woo! It is dusty!
Everything was really dry this time of year, and we had to space our vehicles out a lot because of the dust that we were kicking up. Our big destination for the day? The top of Hull Mountain, named after James Hull, who got mauled by a grizzly and died. Although, I gotta say, he also killed the grizzly, so they killed each other at the same time. Anyway, the approach was sketchier than I was able to catch, just like super steep drop-offs, but it was well worth it.
Wow, we out here. That's how you do it!
At 6,873 feet, the peak looks out 100 miles in every direction. That's what it's all about right there. Little did we know that if we had come just days later, this mountain would have looked very different, and I probably would not be here to tell you about it. Luckily, we made it off the mountain without a scratch. Well, maybe a scratch. We put 50 miles under our tires that day before reaching our awesome campsite. The area had some interesting geography, so obviously, I went to investigate.
You know, the more I think about it, the more I think I'm not really chasing a vista. I'm not really chasing an adventure. I'm chasing a state of being. Being here helps me be here, now. And for me, that's what it's all about.
We were further blessed with a beautiful view of sunset from this location.
Ow, ow, ow!
And of course, an epic view of the stars. On day 2, we crossed the Eel River going north and headed up to the Anthony Peak Fire Lookout. At 6,958 feet, this is the highest point in Mendocino County. But to me, the highlight was meeting the caretaker. She's responsible for a visual sweep of the horizon every 10 minutes, and she'll arm wrestle anyone who would challenge her. I declined, but only for COVID reasons.
Yeah, I line up the firefinder here.
She explains to me how her sighting mechanism works. With this sight, she can calculate distance and uses historical maps and renderings of the surrounding peaks to pinpoint and report possible fires. When she did notice a fire days later, hope she got out in time. The rest of the day was filled with scenic views and a cabin deep in a valley. Looks like it might have been used for a camp at some point. Kind of cool, kind of creepy. We're not sure. Many dusty miles later, we found a campsite. This site was cool because of how secluded it was. I don't know, it kind of felt like the Redwoods were cradling us. Super different feeling than the wide open bluff we'd stayed at the night before. That night, ghost stories were told around the propane fire, and stars shone overhead.
Oh man!
It turns out that thunder was the start of what CAL FIRE is calling the August Lightning Siege. 1,500 lightning strikes in a matter of days, sparking 300 new fires across California. All we knew is that we didn't want to be out here if it got muddy or worse.
I'm getting in my car.
So we packed up and headed for pavement. We made it to pavement, safe and sound, and said our goodbyes. Nice trip, fun crew. I loved learning about this beautiful location and getting to be present with this amazing wilderness. But it is strange knowing that maybe we were the last people to be in that area before it caught fire. The entire area that we visited went up in flames, as have so many places on the West Coast. And you know, it's funny, right? You think that this thing is gonna be there, that it's just indestructible and permanent, and then it's gone. It's a lot to take in, and can I even say that? Like I still have my home. So if I take anything away from this trip, it's actually that we can't take our environment for granted anymore, because this isn't going to stop unless something changes. And what's gonna change? Well, that's up to us. We've gotta make an impact towards reversing climate change. And there are a bunch of ways to do that, but the biggest is through government policy. How do we affect policy? By voting. Vote for people who will help lower emissions, who will invest in clean energy and protect our ecosystems. We gotta make this happen, guys. These are our forests. This is our planet, and it's our time to do something before it's too late. Woo! Thanks guys for watching and supporting me. It means a lot that you are here. If you're new, give me a follow and hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss my next video. This video had a little bit of a different tone, and I'm interested to know what you thought about it, so drop your thoughts down in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you there. And if you feel moved to donate to the communities that were impacted by these fires, I've got a link to the California Fire Fund, which I support, down in the description. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Oh, and something else I'm trying, I launched a Patreon. If you want to support me making these videos on the regular, hit it up. That link is also in the description. Thanks guys, woo! I love learning about the and getting to be present with this beautiful place. Can we take that again?